The Scott Ryfun Radio Show.
Whoa, how are you? It's Friday. Did I put the date in the title of this thing today because I'm getting a lot of complaints from people who are going on and watching old videos and not realizing they're old videos. But okay, I'll take responsibility for that somehow. But I decided I'd try that out. I think I decided I'd try that out. Is that in the title? I can't even remember now if I did that or not, but I feel like I did. I can't see that for some reason. Oh, yeah, there it is. Shortest Friday, August 14th. Yeah, so I did. So, hi, how are you? Welcome to our morning here. It is Friday. We've made it there. I called this a shortish Friday because I do have to be... hang on a second. Sinus is acting up this morning. I took my pill, too. I do have to be in place like at 9 sharp, so I can't dilly-dally this morning. I do enjoy when we can just sit here and do this until we're done doing it, but the clock does operate against... The clock operated against us when we were on the radio, and it's still operating against us. And there's no real update, by the way, on when we're on the radio again, but I will just say there are people trying to muddy the waters for the planned return. And we'll listen, we'll talk, and I'm not optimistic, but what I'm sad about is there are a lot of people that I really like and a lot of people that I respect and a lot of people that I enjoy being on a team with that it's tough, but I'll listen. All right. So who do we have here this morning? Joe's first guy to say something. Then we get a thumb from Paul. And again, it doesn't start unless we get a thumb from Paul McClellan. Mikey says, good morning. Shaz says, greetings, programs. Ready to be that guy? That's good. Tired 188. You were without power from 6:30 to 5:45. Now, how can that be? What is that all about? Was it because of the storms? I mean, it got a little ugly, but I didn't know there were any power outages. Was it storm related? Curious to know. You were without power from 6:30 to 5:40. You should have just slept. That's what you could have just slept that whole time. You'd have been fine. The weird thing, I don't think I've said this. I don't know that I've, you say things over and over again, and you realize why, by the way, you say things over and over again when people comment to you and say, hey, what about this? And you go, well, I said that. So if anybody ever tries to indict me for saying things over and over again, there's a reason for it. And the reason is that saying things over and over and over again is the only way you can get things through to people. That's why you don't buy one commercial, you buy a bunch of commercials. But I've started the new position with the county last Monday. I have every single morning woken up at 3:00 every morning. Most mornings I'm able to get back to sleep, but because it was my groove, it was my routine. I was getting up, ever since they added Savannah to the mix, I started getting up at 3:00 in the morning. So the last 4 years I was doing that. Last 12 years I was at least 3:30 because I was 3:30 before that. But 3:00. And my body is apparently set to that, and it's hard to break that. And so yeah, every morning now for the last 2 weeks. And it was weird because like when I was not working, it wasn't happening. But I guess once I got back into a work mindset, schedule, because the thing is like, and this, when I wasn't working, I was working. I mean, I was talking to people, I was making plans, I was preparing things, I was having appointments with people, but it wasn't really a scheduled thing. I didn't have a daily schedule that I would, a framework to build my day around. But once I returned to doing that, 3:00 every single morning. Like yesterday morning, I couldn't even get back to sleep. I eventually did, but it was probably 4:30 before I got back to sleep. And then my alarm now goes off at 5:30. But 3:00 this morning. I woke up at 3:00. I was like, God, believe it, again, 3:00. All right. Let's see. 153 says happy Friday. It is a good Friday. Dan headed to the St. Simon's Island to set up for the arts and crafts show. Dan does some really cool stuff. And check out his, he does, I'm assuming that you've got like the mugs and stuff that are a little more professionally done than this. Although my buddy, this is a mug. This is my Yeti mug, my little Stormtrooper Yeti mug. And basically how this came about is LaRon Bennett bought me this mug. When these Yeti things, when they first really started emerging, when they were all silver, basically, before they all started looking really cool, and people like Dan could make them look really even cooler. These first started up. LaRon Bennett bought me this. He took me to lunch. He said, I'm buying you this. And I was like, why are you buying me this? He goes, because it's unbelievable. It's like a miracle product. You put something hot in there, it stays hot all the time. You put ice in there, the ice remains forever. Doesn't matter. And he was right. It's great. And so this is actually the one LaRon gave me. I still use it. And then sometime after I got it, my buddy Will gave me the Stormtrooper sticker. Here, use this. And I said, okay, for what? And then I said, you know what? I'll put it on the mug. So now the mug's got some character to it besides just being a giant silver slab. Well, these things are great, though. By the way, for those of you playing the drinking game, I did not actually get a sip that time. So anyway, good luck, Dan, this weekend. I don't know if I'm going to be able to head out there or not. We have a normally busy, packed, crammed, tight Saturday. This week is even more so because there's a funeral we're trying to get into the mix too, and then Sunday we're doing G-Man's birthday, so it's like I don't know if I'll make it out. But Pace says happy Friday. 33. You got 2.41 miles. Good for you. Yeah, that's, the biggest thing is, and I tell people this, moving. The biggest thing you can do for yourself, the best thing you do, the big thing I need to do more for myself is moving. Philip, good morning. Number 32. Good morning. Great Friday. It's a great day. You woke up. That's right. Good morning, Mr. Blocker. AI viewers boost push FYP.com. This is the kind of thing I get from Twitch. I don't even know why I stream on Twitch. I'll be honest with you. Hello, ma'am. Let's see. 1998, Bill Clinton admitted he had improper physical relationship with an intern, leaving parents to explain this to their own minor children. Yes, that was a beautiful, beautiful thing. Good morning to everyone. It's 197 right there. 129 saying I couldn't get it to load. Oh, what does that mean? Happy Pakistan Independence Day. Interesting things being said this morning. Morning for the West Georgia coast. Good to have you guys here. Good morning, crew. Friday morning, which means it's the weekend. That's right. Just about anyway for a lot of us. All right. Good morning, folks. Your content ages well. Yeah, apparently, because people are watching it and then they'll reach out to me and they're like, I spent an hour and a half watching this thing and it wasn't even today. It's like, okay, well, you enjoyed it. That's the part that's important, I think. Henry says, Billy dallying. Okay. Howdy campers. Dilly. Okay, there. That makes a little more sense. Bobby says, good morning. Kearns 198 is in the house. Ricky says, good morning. Tree fell by an old plant off. Oh, so that's what knocked your power out. Was that also storm related though? Dwayne 180. What they're saying is not Billy Dall. Now tell the truth. Let's see. Traffic being diverted off I-95 north at exit 76. This is important stuff. Hang on a second. Let me grab my notes. That's important. Traffic being diverted off 95 north at exit 76. All right. Got it. All right. So everybody keep that in mind. Know that. Understand that. Appreciate that. Because that's a thing that's happening as we speak. If you're planning on traveling that way, just know it. 168 is here. We are so glad to see you there. Mr. Kaysen is here as well, as is Mr. Neal. Just checking to see what your handle is today. Still Cole the Lego Master. Still Cole the Lego Master. Wake up at 4 a.m. even on my days off. Yeah, I don't know what it is about that. I don't know what it is. Karen says, good morning. Linda says, Friday fun. Indeed. Put to bed around 9 p.m. That's always a good thing, too. TGIAF. Thank God it's always Friday. See, James said, thank God it's always Friday. You remember when you couldn't, like, thank God was unless you were saying it in a purely religious context, that was not a thing that you did in polite society. When there was a movie that was a Saturday Night Fever ripoff called Thank God It's Friday. When they advertised during the day, they couldn't call it that. Their ads, if you watch the old TV ads, the daytime TV ads for Thank God It's Fridays, they just called it TGIF and had the same logo, but they never said the name of the movie itself in the actual ads because we had a different set of standards back then. Guten Morgen. Haha. Getting a little German on us there. How'd you like that screen recording? I said, did you send me a screen recording? I'm sorry. I don't know. I must have missed that one. I have not. I'll say this. If it came through Messenger, for all that I did today, I have not looked at Messenger yet. And that's probably a dumb move on my part because oftentimes I will get up and there'll be 30 new messages on Messenger. Oh, I see. Let's see. 95 northbound at 82 mile marker. There's been a bad wreck involving a couple of police cars. Oh, there you go. See, now I'm getting some updates. Hang on. I gotta thank our person here. Yeah. So traffic is moving inside lane closest to the median fully blocked. 2 lanes open for travel. And that is so around 82 is where the wreck happened. And there are police cars involved in the wreck, and that's interesting. And so we'll go from here and see what we can learn. But I appreciate Wesley dropped that to me, and I appreciate that, sir, very, very, very much. And again, so it looks like that wreck at around 82 is why they're routing people off of 95 at 76. You got all those numbers? That's a lot of numbers. 82, 95, 76. All right. Let's see. I'll look for that screen recording. I'm sorry. I see. Wait, hang on. I see there is one. Okay. I'll watch it. Is that from that's from your, the political game? All right. No, I'll definitely watch that because I'm interested in watching that. I'm interested in seeing that. Good. Della says, happy Friday. Good morning from 147. Miss hearing you on the radio, but I will start streaming now. Glad to have you here on the stream. And again, there will be radio. I don't know when yet. And things got a lot more complicated this week. And some new players have reached out to be part of this thing. I'll just say. Let me change that. Some new old players have reached out to be part of this thing. And the reality is if, and they haven't made a firm offer. They've just said, this is what we would like to do. Will you be interested in listening? And I'm like, I'll listen. The reality is they have the legal ability to put me on tomorrow. They also have the legal ability to block me until I'm told by the attorney January or December. So yeah. So it's like there again, I'll listen, but we may be stuck off the air for a while, unfortunately, but we will be back. Promise you that. Becky says, good morning from 193. That's good. I will take a short show over not having you on at all. Thank you. I thank you. Good morning, John. Muriel says good morning as well. Let's see. Oh, I couldn't get YouTube to load because my phone couldn't figure out if I wanted to be on my home Wi-Fi or the wireless provider getting into the car. Oh, that's frustrating. That is right. The phones will do that though to you. That is still a very scary profile picture, but good morning. Is Twitch a dating app for people with oh, that's awful. Oh man. And after yesterday, when I had to do the part of the training was the don't call people with handicaps, the handicap that they have or the disability that they have. You have to call them, the politically correct. So I had to go through and learn I didn't have to learn it. I knew it all. It was easy, but it's just some of it was really dumb. So anyway, Ricky, good morning. Good morning, 160. Sorry you missed it. Oh, your first grandchild was born. Congratulations. Congratulate Kathy, everybody. I want to see that in the chat. I want to see a bunch of congratulations for her first grandchild born. That's huge, 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 huge. Don't think it was storm related. It was just some thunder out here last night. Okay, that's good. I know the wake up before the alarm feeling just happens to people more than you think, to more people than you think. I used to fight it, but now I just let it happen and it finds a way to go away. The program helps you. See, I love that. I love that people rely on this stuff. This is why I'm always, it's why it like the day I was told there was no show, and I've talked about this before where, I didn't feel adrift or I didn't feel like, it's over, it's done. Oh no, what am I going to do next? I just started going, oh, well, here's what I'm going to do next. Because again, I had been thinking about it for a little while because I was seeing little signs. The new automation system was really not geared to be run locally. It was geared to be run remotely. They launched a syndicated morning show, which they had not done previously. And I wasn't the syndicated morning show. And, just little things like that I started to go, they're setting up a big thing for a bunch of people to go. But my counter in my brain was, yes, but you generate a lot of ratings and a lot of revenue for them and you're very profitable and thus you will not be part of that. But apparently that was not the case. But anyway, the point is, the biggest negative feeling I had was never for me. It was always, I feel like I'm disappointing these guys because they're going to get up in the morning and I'm not going to be there. I feel bad because, again, I didn't feel bad for me because I knew I'd be okay. But I felt bad for everybody who counts on the program. And there are lots and lots of people who do. And that was like the biggest sense of unhappiness about all this that I really had was, I'm letting people down who have been trained and told they could count on us every day. And we weren't there. 177 brain does jump to the conclusion. No, not in the slightest. Wreck on Chapel Crossing in front of the Fletsy main gate. That's also good to know. Appreciate that. So people are not driving well on Friday is what we're seeing. Hang on, I got to write this down. Chapel Crossing. See, normally I could take a caller and the caller could talk while I wrote this down, but I don't have a caller thing going. Let's see. Okay. So far today, we've got a wreck at mile marker 82 on 95 northbound. And they're routing people off northbound at 76. And then we have a wreck on Chapel Crossing Road across from the entrance to Fletsy. Guys, please, please, please be careful this morning. Vicky says, good morning. We say that as well. Under my gnome to get number 18. 25 says, happy Friday from South Florida. Oh, is he out there doing that? Sounds like a pit minute. Maybe. Maybe. It could. Stuff ages well because of your intellectual consistency. You don't have to explain your way out of stuff like some people. Cough, Tucker. Have you seen the fight between Tucker Carlson and Ben Shapiro now? This has been hysterical because, Tucker has, my opinion, thoroughly disgraced himself over the last couple of years. Thoroughly disgraced himself. But his unleashing on Ben Shapiro is insane. Like Tucker Carlson is out there doing the Ben Shapiro wants people to think he's brilliant, but he only has he literally said, I watched the video yesterday. He only has a middling intellect or a middling IQ, I think he actually said. And here's the beautiful thing about it. I remember Ben Shapiro from way back when. I remember when Ben Shapiro was the child prodigy, when Ben Shapiro had a syndicated column at 17. Ben Shapiro went to college at 16, got into Harvard Law at 20, with, by the way, when you talk about him having a middling IQ, his LSAT was a 176. Now, the max is 180. Understand, we were talking the other day about, admission standards being for Harvard, like being in the 130s and for some people. Shapiro had a 176 getting in there. Tucker Carlson had a worse college GPA than I had. I think I wound up with like a 2.6. I don't know. I could tell you because I actually have a copy of my transcript on my iPad, actually. I could probably look it up. I'm not going to do that. I don't think I'm going to do that. We'll see. I'm not going to do that. I got too much contract stuff up front on here, but yeah, I actually do. I keep a copy of my college transcript. I gave a lot of things just on my iPad because you just never know. But I do actually have a copy of my college transcript. I think my final GPA there was like 2.6, which I was not proud of. But yeah, Tucker just like went on this unhinged rant against Ben, and again, just Israel, 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 and like none of it's true. And yet Tucker literally was a guy who was born to a very wealthy family, raised a very wealthy family, went to very nice private schools, was admitted to college not based on his academic standing, but rather based on his girlfriend's father, who got him into his college. And then he didn't do well in his college. And then, and I'm not going to fault people who didn't do great in college, because I didn't do great in college either. The last 2 years were really good, but everything before that was kind of a nightmare. But yeah, it's insane to see the stuff that Tucker is saying, because he's just lying at this point over and over and over and over again. I hope no matter where you land the live stream like this on YouTube or Facebook always remains. I enjoy the comments. No, and I'll say this. Now, one of the things that's going to, when we go back to radio, I can't sit and go through every comment because there are so many, but I will pull some that I think, okay, well, this is relevant. This is good. This is, but I plan on keeping this. I really like this format. I like this feed. And yeah, so my goal is that we keep doing this. And yeah, I'm with you on that. I really like it as well. Congratulations, Kathy. There we go. We got some congratulations for Kathy. Seems like a dumb idea to cancel a show if they're worried about you starting another show. Well, again, it was profitable. But here's what you also have to understand is the people, Savannah, Brunswick, they knew that. The people doing a spreadsheet somewhere that just look at numbers on and look at one set of numbers but don't look at all the numbers don't know that. And it's funny because I've been kind of trying to give Steve Waters a little guidance without getting directly involved, because again, it's not my job to. But I've been trying to kind of help out and help get these things going, because high school football needs to get going, but I'm not directly involved in it. But some of the people from Savannah that have been interacting with Steve, and Steve has said, well, who's this person? I said, oh, that's a good person. I promise you that person's not behind that. And one of those people called me yesterday to tell me, hey, here's how things have gone down. So, and it's kind of as I figured. The people that I knew weren't behind it. It was done remotely and without actual looking at the actual situation. Becky says congratulations to Kathy. That's what that is. So not only can they keep you from doing radio when they fire you, they can try to strong arm you into a different deal. I don't think. No, let's not say that. It's not strong arming me into a different deal. But the reality is, they can legally stop me from being on for 6 months. We have made a request to them to release me from that. But if they choose not to, they don't have to. How's that? I mean, it's nothing more than that. I don't consider this to be insidious. I consider this to be, the price of doing business. I'm not angry about it. I'm just realistic about it. It's not it just is what it is. It's what's written on a piece of paper and what's enforceable and what's doable. And, I would like them to release me from it. I think there are circumstances in which they would release me from it, but if they want me back, they're probably not likely to release me from it. That's kind of my point. If I said if, because again, I'm not commenting. There we go. We got congratulations for Kathy going up left and right. There we go. Look at all this. Look at all this. Look at all you guys. You guys are awesome. Have we even started talking about anything yet? Let's see. Unfortunately, some of the Reagan in the morning, his musings aged well. Yeah, they did. They aged very well. Tell them to get off the phone. Yeah, the talking about the people doing all the wrecks today. Maybe that's the issue. Congratulations, Kathy, again. I cannot agree with you because I don't think Tucker ever had any grace. All right, that's fair too. Good morning from 45. Good morning for the university. After 2 years at South Carolina, my counselor told me I should do my parents a favor and try truck driving school, which you did do, didn't you? Comments to make the host look good. There you go. Sweetie saying good morning. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that was. There's kind of a situation where there are some dogs next door on one side, and I tried to kind of get them to play nice together, but they just don't play nice, which is weird because Sweetie doesn't dislike any dog. This one dog next door kind of jumped on her, and she didn't like that, so she just doesn't like the dog now. And so then we had some new neighbors, great people, moved in on the other side, and they've got dogs that bark a lot when they go out. They just don't go out a lot, but when they go out, they bark, and that drives mine nuts. So now they're kind of like in this state of siege where they've got dogs on both sides that they're unsure about, and so now they literally went from occasionally barking at a thing or two to they bark at everything. It's like. It's a thing now. They bark at everything. We try to reassure them, no, it's okay. Everything's good. We're fine. There's nobody hurt. Amazon guy pulls up in front of it. Bark, bark, bark. Grace Irrigation Landscape pulls up. Bark, 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 bark. And it used to not be that way, but I think it's this, they've got this mentality because there's dogs on all sides that they're uncomfortable with. And so they're just that now. And so you try to kind of allay that as much as possible, but hasn't worked out yet. The reality reasoning behind not letting you go and do your own. It's just standard. It's standard to have a non-compete. The reality and reasoning is that I will bring in, I will eventually be bringing in clients that, I'll be competing with them. That's why. I mean, that's the bottom line. And again, a lot of businesses do this. The non-compete thing is a real thing. It happens. I wish it didn't happen, but it's not. I'm not going to say that the non-compete is. How would you say this? I don't. The way they structure it is not very talent friendly. It is to my way of thinking a little bit one-sided because they should be compensating you for something more than they try to compensate you for during that time. But in and of itself, a non-compete is not really a thing. And a lot of times they've been able to get away with it because a lot of people in radio are just kind of, they live paycheck to paycheck and fly by the seat of their pants and move from town to town. And I don't do that and haven't done that. So it's why I kind of feel it more acutely than I think a lot of other people. And why I've got a lot of people in the community who want to support what I'm doing and they can't yet. And again, it's not a grievance or anything. It's just literally a thing that it's a process, a legal process you have to go through. But it's nothing more than that. And again, I do think it's a little one-sided the way it's written. And I think, again, historically, they've just been able to do it that way. I'll just stop there because I really, but again, I don't treat it as insidious. I treat it as business. And that's what it is. But there, Kathy gets her thank yous. Good morning from 136. Another congratulations, Kathy. It's part of the thing. I know but again, it's business. I promise you, that's what it is. Hi from number 12. Good to have you here. Good morning and congratulations again to Kathy. Good morning from Beth. Dogs have a database in their nose. Once they smell you and you come back to the door 6 months later, they recognize you. I don't know. I don't know that that's necessarily the case. And well, I say that because I will tell you, I've been to visit Gaston 3 different times, and each time I've kind of had to reacquaint myself with him. And they every time I've met with him, it's been a totally different situation. Like once was in the adoption room, once was in their conference room where he was the freest. That was the best meeting we had with him. And then I went to see him the other day, and it was at their little play yards. But the problem was, all the other dogs are out there barking, and that kind of gets him ill at ease. So yeah, I mean, every time I've gone to see this boy, I've had to reintroduce myself to him. So yeah, I don't know that theory holds. I mean, I'll let you and Caesar take that up. But speaking of this boy, remember, he has been there. We're closing in on 640 days. This guy's been at the shelter, and he is on the list. If we've got to create space, he's one of the top 10 to go. And honest to goodness, he's a good kid. Honest to goodness, he's sweet and fun and a ton of energy. Just fantastic little dog. And he can be yours. I will pay the adoption fee. We've managed to raise $300 worth of Island Dog gift certificates. We've gotten $300 worth of obedience lessons in the can here. We've raised a lot to get this guy out there. The other thing is, you can adopt him. You can foster him. You can foster him as a trial run for adopting him, or you can just foster him to get him out of the shelter for a little while. Either one of those would be a good thing for him. Gaston is there. So, and we'll continue to push for that poor guy. It's funny, when I was at, I was doing orientation yesterday for the job. And one of the things, one of the trainers, and they did a good job, by the way, because we were there. It was 8 hours, and it was over 8 hours, and it could have been very dry and very boring, and they did a really good job of making it interesting, fun, to the point that I realized, like, when we were well into it, almost at a break, I was like, oh, we're already gone through all this stuff. And you learned it. You actually learned it while going through it quickly and fun. So they did a good job. But one of the trainers just said, how are we doing with the dog? Have we gotten him adopted yet? First thing she said to me, how are we doing with the dog? I said, no, we haven't got him adopted yet. We haven't got it. It hasn't happened yet, but we hope it does. Oh, lady's getting set off now. So anyway, we'll see what happens there. Good morning from North Georgia, #1. She's got her own 40 she's forming. She's like a breakaway republic is what that is. Past the wreck on 95. It's slowing down north and southbound. Looks like the cop had somebody pulled over and somebody rear-ended him at speed. Oh. I hate that for a lot of reasons. That's just, and it just, that should not be happening. I will tell you too, I don't get pulled over a lot, but I did get that one ticket in, I guess it was February 14th, 23. And, I pull way over when I pull over for those guys. Pull way over sometimes you can't because the shoulder slopes off really badly, but I try to pull as far over as I can because I know those guys are about to get out and they're going to walk, and there could be some. So I try to get over as much as possible so nobody plows into anybody. That's awful. Yeah, I'm not gonna. I see people. I see more people commenting on the non-compete stuff, but I can't really comment on it anymore. I probably commented on it more than I should at this point, but just know it's business, and conversations happen from there, and let's see what happens. I'm open to a variety of things. Gaston may have been anti-database. It might have been anti-data center. Yeah, that may be the problem. I'll bet the reason Gaston has not been adopted because he's in favor of the flock cameras. I mean, you can look at that guy. That's a fascist state right there. Look at him. He's just, and he does not want you to have these. That's what I can tell you. All right, let's, the flock camera stuff. It was funny because the social media post that came out the other day about the flock cameras, what they do and what they don't do. My favorite thing was seeing somebody that I know who's apparently just hates the flock cameras with a white hot passion. Who writes this stuff? And I almost went, me. Because, yeah, I mean, with a few tweaks, I wrote that you pass it around to a committee, and I think one line was added to it, but largely that is about 95% my post. I wrote that. In fact, I did something interesting. I tried an experiment with that. I wrote two versions. I wrote my version, and then I put all the data into AI, and I'd let AI write a version. And I circulated which of these do you like? And everybody said, well, the first one. Well, the first one was the one I wrote. They did not choose the AI one. I thought that was interesting, but because there was a kind of a thought process and a step through the arguments that I made that I thought was logical. But yeah, he may have been pro flock camera on that. You never know. Congratulations, Kathy. Welcome to the club. Be curious to know what the numbers look like in Southeast Georgia market. Okay, we'll move on from that stuff. Poor puppy. I know. Brian, you should give him a home. Carolyn says hello. John says good morning. Can't stand the ones that pull over on a lane like on 341 instead of turning onto a side street. Yeah, I'd love to hear. I'd love to hear what the perspective is on where you guys want us to go. The police here. Let's see. I've been hit before and ended up in the driver's lap pretty much. Minor injuries, but my hip still hurts sometimes. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, get them the flock. Yeah, the flock foilers. If we get those for Gaston, he'll be good to go. Move over for emergency vehicles. It's the law. Move over for service vehicles because we're out there also. Yeah, you guys are out there. Absolutely. How many people are going to have to die on the side of the interstate? The solution's simple. Take them to the exit. Interesting. Well, but here's that's kind of yes. But I will tell you, people get hit at the exit too. I mean, it's not avoidable that somebody's people I think behave dumber at the exit than they do on the side of the interstate, tell you the truth. But beyond that, it's one of those things. To me, it's like the Claritin, where Claritin is over the counter. You buy the Claritin D, it's over the counter medication, but yet if you buy too much of it in a month, you get your hand slapped and you can't buy it. And to me, it's kind of the same thing where this shouldn't have to be done. In life, certain things just shouldn't have to be done, shouldn't have to be said. That's one of those things. Unfortunately, for 6 dogs, 5 cats, I'm maxed out. Otherwise, I'd love to adopt that. You know what? Just thinking about him, I'm not, no pressure, Mark, but I think about you and I'm thinking about him. You guys actually are a really good fit. Mark, you may want to do yourself a favor and not go down and visit him, because you and he, I think, actually would fit very well. Because he's an outdoorsy dog. He's very, very much kind of an outdoorsy kind of dog. He's a rabid anti-datite. Yes, anti-datite. You're a rabid anti-datite. Let's see. You can't control where the driver pulls over. This one was right at the exit, and the driver pulled to the left side, it looks like. Oh, this one? I've seen people do that where they pull over to the left side. I don't get that. I would have to think, I like to do what the cops want us to do in those situations, because they really need to kind of control the situation regardless. I don't understand. I've seen people do that where they pull over to the left because there's an emergency lane on the left on the interstate. I don't get that. I don't understand that. Frustrating. Absolutely frustrating. Some people stop literally where they are as they don't want it to seem like they're not stopped. Yeah, I know that. And that's the thing too, that like, I think they're afraid, like, if I go another 200 feet, are they going to get me for fleeing the cops or whatever? And no, they're fine. How's the new job? It's fine. It's fine. It's interesting. I'm learning things. It's always different on the other side. And so I'm seeing things and learning things I didn't know before. And it's also a job that I think I can do. So, but I'm kind of being eased into it, which is the right thing to do. But there are a lot of times where I don't know what I'm doing, and I have to ask questions. I'm like, I don't know who to talk to about this. And they'll say, hey, go do this. And I'll go, okay, who do I do that with? Who do I ask about that? How do I get that done? So there's still a lot of that, but it's fine. It's good. And I like the people there. That's, that was one of the things that did appeal to me when I got the call from a few people saying, hey, that job's open. You might it might be a good fit for you. Would you be interested? And I was like, yeah, I'm interested, because I started thinking about the people down there that I've cultivated so many relationships with people in the county over the years that I really like. I like Bill Fallon a lot. I like Brian Sipe a lot. I like Brittany a lot. I like, just up and down the line. Just there are a lot of good people at the county that I know and I like. And so that was a motivating factor for me was that I knew so many people that I really liked and wanted the opportunity to work with them. Can't go down there. I want to take all of them. You really do. You really, I mean, when you're there, you just, this guy and this guy and this one and that one. And it's tough. It's tough. But if you met him, if you spent time with him, you and he would be a really good fit. Just knowing his personality, knowing yours, you guys would work well. You guys would click. I always loved it when people would pull way over to the side or onto a side street or parking lot. Okay, so that was your preference. So I'm assuming that's not sarcasm. That is actually your preference. Good to know. That's because, and he spent years doing this. So I like that kind of advice. So let's talk again. There's a wreck on 95 North around mile marker 82. They are routing people off the interstate at 76. We have some eyewitnesses who are telling us that it looks like it was a traffic stop where somebody plowed into the traffic stop, which is not good. So be careful if you're heading that way this morning. Also, a wreck on Chapel Crossing at the entrance to Fletsy. Pay attention to that one, please. The other thing to pay attention to, we're in a better position this morning. Let's look at our two blobs. We got Yeller and Orange. Now, yesterday we had Orange and Red. And so things are looking better. We look at Yellow, and he has a 30% chance. I think some wind got in here and tore these guys apart, or at least ripped into them a little bit. We look a lot better today than we did yesterday. So you got 30% chance, small blob at this point, and I don't know. I'm feeling very good about this one. This guy, 50% chance, which again, down from yesterday. So, will that downward trend continue, or will it suddenly turn into something? Don't know. We'll find out. But we're keeping an eye on it, just so you know. And again, a 50% chance. So we really, the thought was a couple of days ago that we would know more by Saturday, but things have backed off to the point that tomorrow's no longer the day. I mean, we may know more tomorrow. I mean, we will know more. We'll know something tomorrow. There'll be new, fresh, updated data. But, we really thought something would become a storm by Saturday, or depression or something, some kind of a thing that got a name. And that doesn't look like it's going to be the case anymore, which is good for us for now. So anyway, we're keeping an eye on those two blobs, just so you know. And again, we're in decent shape right now. Let's see. Let's go back to this. Natural intelligence is better than artificial intelligence. Well, yeah, there you go. My last day at work today, I'll be retiring starting on Monday. Thanks for being on my truck radio. Oh man. Well, I hope that you stick with us anyway. And I hope you get a lot of strumming in. And again, just so you know, it's got to be right here, because I use it all the time now. Yeah, it's right here. I knew it. Right here. Use it all the time. Let's see. No sarcasm. It is my preference. I would thank people for it. So you have it there from somebody with experience. He says preferred, find a side street, find a parking lot. That's the kind of thing. So keep that in mind. Nationwide, a competitor of our business, the competitor's name is a name that everyone knows, will no longer service a truck on the side of the interstate, and I for the safety of their associates. Got it. Jamie 134 says hello. Volunteered for the Humane Society for over 30 years. Foster if you can't adopt and save a life. Maybe if he's seen out in town, someone may want to adopt him. Yeah, and trust me, it baffles me that he has not been adopted. And there's one of these things, is he does apparently have a bite on his record that they have to record, and that came from somebody sticking their fingers in his crate, or not his crate, but in his kennel. And the thought is he thought it was a treat being handed to him, because that happens. And it's really kind of more the actions of the person who stuck their fingers in there than anybody else. But it wasn't it was just a little nip, but they had to record it as a bite. So Just know that that's a thing with him. But the funny thing about that is, like, I've fed him treats. He's very gentle with treats. He doesn't just, like we first got Sweetie, she was snatching treats out of our, you had to like run for cover when you gave her a treat because she was like, and he's not that way. He's very gentle. She's now very gentle with the treats, which is good. But he's super gentle with treats. So I don't understand how any of that happened, but it did. So anyway, let's get into a couple of news stories here because I can't be here, unfortunately, as long as I'd love to be here. This was a strange-ish story to me. Old ILA, this is 2 ILA halls away, apart, or in the distance, I should say, in the past. It's not the one that they have now that they're going to leave to go to the Exit 29 area. It's a different one. But there were several things about this that kind of got to me. Brunswick's Planning and Appeals Commission recommended that the city commissioners deny a requested rezoning and a conditional use permit for a convenience store in the old International Longshoremen's Association Hall at the corner of London and Albany Streets. Glorietta James, who brought the application before the PAC, said she wanted to see the building used to benefit the Dixville neighborhood. In her opinion, a convenience store selling toiletries and basic groceries or another commercial use like laundromat would be most helpful to residents, as they must leave the neighborhood to find either. I feel like there's some logic there. I feel like there's some good reasoning there. She was willing to consider other alternatives, however. Other residents of Dixville did not like the idea of using the building for a commercial venture, and around a dozen of them filled out the seating in the old City Hall second floor conference room Wednesday afternoon to make their voices heard. Many were concerned about the possibility of the store serving alcohol and generating excessive traffic, noise, and litter, among other things. I feel like this is kind of a toss-up. One, the land is not currently zoned for that. It would require a rezone. So, it's not like you're interfering with private property usage or anything like that by not granting the rezone. But at the same time, some of the arguments are not great arguments. The property is currently zoned for use as office space. It is still owned by the ILA, but James has a 5-year lease with the union. It has been vacant for many years since the union's new hall at 4th Avenue and Amherst Street was completed. The owner of the home immediately, and this is another one of those aspects of this article that I found interesting, because this to me is indicative of a pattern. The owner of the home immediately behind the former Union Hall pleaded with the Planning Commission not to grant the applications. Brenda Aldridge said she liked her home. It's the first one she's owned and she loves it. The ILA was not a good neighbor when they still used the old hall, and the neighborhood has been much more pleasant since it moved, she said. And I don't think this was really brought up. There were people opposing the new Union Hall in the Exit 29 area that they're going to build. And a lot of people were opposing that based on the traffic that would come in. So basically the argument was made, there's going to be more traffic. And, they kind of stood up and went, well, actually it's not that much traffic. Here's what it is. It's not a big deal. So they shot down the arguments. I mean, the ILA guys won the argument, frankly. I mean, if you're scoring it on points, they won the argument, but nobody went up and said, and that was my thing, was when I started hearing all this stuff, was I was remembering the recent videos that people were taking on 4th Avenue, where people were, being harassed and threatened by people going to the ILA because they were illegally parking their vehicles on the sidewalks. And then people were pointing out that their vehicles were illegally parking on the sidewalk. And then they were threatening them. And then when people posted all the threats online, they got more threats. There are times when people affiliated with it, I'm not going to say the International Longshoremen's Association as a whole, but there are times when people associated with the ILA are not good neighbors. And clearly that was the case when they were over in Dixville. And then they move over, to the 4th, and not good neighbors. And so, I have no expectation that they'll be good neighbors at Exit 29. And why none of that was brought up, I don't know. I don't understand. Because that would be, to me, that would be the thing that I would be more concerned about. Much more so than, whether or not there's enough traffic going into it and that kind of thing. But we'll see. We'll see how this goes. And people, people obviously it's the apocalypse if somebody actually opens up a store near them. And I don't know. They don't want their daily routine changed, which I get. I totally get. Once it cools off a bit, I'll be glad to give my space at my events for pet adoption. You know what? They probably would like to have some space at your event for pet adoption. I mean, we'll see. You could probably go down there and pick one out and say, just take it down there and have the thing, just kind of sitting and draw people to the booth, tell you the truth, because the dog's always a good draw. Seems like City of Brunswick does so good on grants, they don't want anything that would actually generate tax revenue. Think of the irony here. Yeah, because grants are tax revenue, just from somewhere else. I did get a sip that time, for those of you playing the drinking game. But yeah, I totally get that. To the flock haters, a certain type of Rust-Oleum clear coat when sprayed onto the license plate will not let the flock make out. Okay, well, all right. Fletzy wreck is cleared up, just passed through. That's good to hear. And don't block entrances to roads and parking lots. Oh, absolutely. You're talking about when you're being pulled over? Absolutely. I would think that being that close to a school, they couldn't sell alcohol. Are they close to a school? What school are they close to? I don't know. I don't know. I'm honestly, I don't know exactly the address of this thing, other than it's in Dixville, and it's the old ILA headquarters. But again, I can just tell you that when you've got people saying these guys were not good neighbors, and then they move, and people there go, these guys are not good neighbors. It's kind of like when you get divorced. And you tell everybody that my ex-wife was the problem. She was the problem. She's the evil one. And then you go get married and you get divorced again. And you go, oh, my ex-wife is the problem. She's the problem. And then you get married and you get divorced again. And you go, my ex-wife, she was the problem. And then you get married and divorced again. And your ex-wife still. Eventually, at some point, you're the problem. It's not the other people. I'm pretty sure the location is a block back from the city fire department on Gloucestershire Street. Okay. Got it. Well, that's not really that close to a school, is it? Am I wrong on that? I can't think of a school that's near that area. I can't think of a school there. No, I'm not going to let you get started. I'm not going to let you get started. All right. Really quickly, this is one I had from yesterday that I didn't get to. And this is weird. And this is bad. This is bad journalism. I talked about bad journalism the other day with that whole miswriting and mis-explaining of the tax increase that the county was doing, which you have to call it legally, but it's actually keeping the same tax rate. This is bad journalism too. This is bad journalism because the headline, John Hinckley Jr. sends message to Jodie Foster 45 years after infamous Ronald Reagan assassination attempt. This is from the New York Post. I thought they'd do a little better than this, but they didn't. Here's the thing about the story. John Hinckley is not out there reaching out to Jodie Foster. Oh, if only Jodie Foster would talk to me. If only Jodie Foster. It's none of that. It's literally an interview who says, what would you say to Jodie Foster right now? I mean, he's like, the guy is hitting all the Jodie Foster buttons he can. And it's a little creepy in the interview, to tell you the truth, where he's just Jodie Foster. And what would you say to Foster? And he's like, I would say, just wish her well. I mean, he didn't come armed with a message for Jodie Foster. And to be honest with you, first off, I don't think Hinckley's well. I don't think Hinckley should have gotten out. I don't think Hinckley should ever have gotten out. You don't shoot the president and then get out. But beyond that, and he says in the thing, he's like, yeah, he says in the interview, my belief was I would shoot the president and she would come to me. And she would be mine because I shot the president. And then he said, even when I got into the home, I still felt like at some point we would be together. And, first thing, John, you're going to have to become a woman if you and Jodie are going to be together. Let's be realistic here. But beyond that, it's not hinged. It's unhinged, in fact. But bad clickbait headline, because it wasn't like Hinckley was out there going, "Hey, let's talk about Jodie Foster." The interviewer literally just kind of went there and went there and went there, which is a bad idea, to be honest with you. Not good neighbors in Savannahport either. One big fat hassle for non-union truckers just trying to make a living. Not good neighbors. That's the thing that I would have pointed to with regards to the need for a new hall. The last thing the journalist wants to do is bring attention to a great Republican president. Well, there is that. There is that. Let's see. Next up, murder, manslaughter, threatening a judge among indictments. So they've got the indictment for the murder of Robert Eugene Yon in March, which is good. That's good. A lot of people knew that man. A lot of people love that man. A lot of people respected that man, and it's good that they're going to see justice. Hopefully, they will see justice in this situation. And a couple of other. Let's see. Hang on, I got to grab it on my screen so I can take a look at it. Yeah, and then let's see. Oh yeah, Terrell Antoine Lawrence, 36, separate case for allegedly causing the death of Kevin Robert Luck by selling a substance to Luck that contained fentanyl. That stuff's just frustrating. That just is frustrating. Ceremony to honor the 25th anniversary of 9/11. I was at a planning session for this earlier this week, or maybe late last week. I can't remember now. It's all starting to blend together. But this is coming along nicely. Chief Vinny really has this. Like, there are a lot of people contributing, a lot of people being part of this, but Chief Vinny really is going to carry this over the finish line. And I did a little contribution in that I recruited the bagpiper because their bagpiper that they were going to use, they couldn't use. So I happen to know a guy. So I reached out to him, and they made things happen. It's all going to be square. All right. Georgia Southern breaks records with enrollment and economic impact. That's great. Now, tell me about the degrees that you're giving and the usefulness they are to society. Because if it's all women's studies and gender studies degrees, I don't know. I'm not really that impressed with the numbers. Again, it's those things where you cherry pick your stuff. Look, we have a lot of people here. Okay. Are we graduating a lot of those people? And are they getting degrees that actually mean something? Or are they the nonsense degrees that are easy for people to get? So then they go out into the world, and then the corporate world, in order to support the universities, has to create positions for them that make all of us miserable. Which is it, guys? I'm just curious. Let's see. Residents speak on possible Tybee Island short-term rental changes. And this is a thing happening everywhere because people are able to now make money making their homes into short-term rentals, or places they own into short-term rentals. And, this is tough because the short-term renters oftentimes are not, speaking of good neighbors, sometimes they're not good neighbors. So, and some people just don't want rentals in their neighborhood, which again goes back to, I think really goes back to, how do you treat something if you own it versus how do you treat something if you're just staying there for the day or for a few days? I don't know. And I brought this one in. And the reason I brought this one in is that first line. Savannah man charged with arson in Thunderbolt. A Savannah man with an extensive criminal history, including a previous arson arrest, was charged with arson for an incident Tuesday at a restaurant on Victory Drive. This is the guy, apparently, Henry Dover. Of course, when he gets to prison, they're going to change his name to Ben. But But anyway, served with multiple warrants Thursday while it was being held on unrelated charges from a separate investigation. This is, to me, this here, and I'm glad that, I'll be honest with you. I'm gonna be straight up honest with you. I'm glad the guy's white, because you know me, I'm gonna make the example no matter what. And now you can't tell me I'm a racist for making the example. But some years ago, we decided that it was a better thing to not put people in prison. Oh, let's don't put people in prison. Oh, we got to do something else with these people. We can't put them in prison. That would be terrible for them. And so we started putting them. And I don't know if you've noticed this or not, but you know that Daffin Park story where the guy tried to rape the woman, allegedly. And like he'd been released, 27 times? and had just been released a few days prior to his attempt to rape this woman in Daphne Park. We've decided that it's just better to not put people in prison. And what's happening is we have people who need to be in prison walking around on the streets. But you see this kind of thing more and more and more and more and more, where it's a guy with an extensive arrest history, an extensive criminal history, and he's out doing what? Committing crimes. Prison exists for a few reasons. And, I think people on the left think it's only to rehabilitate people. But sometimes it is just because you got to have a place to put those people who cannot function in our society. There are those people. It's indisputable. We've seen it time and again. And, when you're arrested 27 times, odds are you probably cannot function in society. Oh, look, here's another one. Convicted felon. Here's yet again. 2 in a row here. Convicted felon with a lengthy criminal history, a history of felony convictions and repeated arrests on firearm charges, was rearrested in late July and officially charged with murder, according to jail and court records and information from Chatham County Police Department. So again, here's a guy who probably should be in prison, but he's not in prison because of our compassion. And still, he's out there allegedly committing murders. Glenn Middle School's 2 blocks away. No. Glenn Middle School, you're looking at the current one on 4th there. This is not that. This is a different location. That's not the one they're talking about. The one they're talking about's a whole different spot. The one they're talking about now, also a bad neighbor, different one. Okay. All right. Thank goodness for YouTube being up to. I might have done that one on the air. You don't know that. Albany Street near Glen Academy. ILA. Okay. So that one. Okay. So near Glen. Well, good. I'm glad. See, Rick's actually involved in this stuff. Rick knows. Let's see. Darren, check out the Joe Rogan Black and White Sportscast. It's epic. Oh, you talking about? Oh, that's not that. No, never mind. I don't know what that is. Just needs help in rehabilitation. Use my tax dollars and house them, feed them, and give them an allowance. These guys need the Russian round room. I don't even know what that is either, but I'll take your word for it. But yeah, again, Ann Coulter said it best years ago when we had the steep decline in crime that really started in the late 80s into the 90s and really accelerated into the 90s. And Ann Coulter said it very clearly, which was, we had a steep decline in crime when we started putting people in prison. When you put criminals in prison, you have less crime on the streets. And I don't think it is or should be controversial to say that. Let's see. Also, 2 more break-ins. They got a guy for breaking into a place in the Starland district, but apparently he was not alone. 2 more break-ins in the Starland district in the Savannah area. And not good. So obviously there's more work to do with that one. Much more work to do. What have we got here? What is this one? Sometimes I can't see them because they're so tiny, but I know I did them earlier. Oh yeah, man charged in death of Savannah teacher pleads not guilty. Oscar Vasquez Lopez. You remember this? This was the police chase. And he hit her. He was being chased. I guess he was chased by ICE, wasn't he? And hit and killed the teacher. And of course, liberals immediately everywhere started blaming ICE rather than the guy who came here illegally, lived here illegally, fled from the police, drove at excessive speeds, and then hit a car because he was driving recklessly. That guy didn't get blamed. ICE got blamed. She was a teacher, Dr. Linda Davis, teacher at Hess K-8 school. Vasquez Lopez was, there it is, was accused of striking Davis while fleeing immigration. try that again. I can't read that word. Okay. Well, anyway, yeah, that was the case. Now he's pleading not guilty. I don't think that one's going to work. Just call it a hunch. I don't think it's going to work. By the way, Camden had a fit yesterday. Traffic stop. 3 guys ran from it. It was near a school. It was near an elementary school. And so they had to lock down the school because these people were just fleeing from the traffic stop. So Camden had a good early morning scare yesterday. Let's see who else. Oh, WNBA presidents won't rule out male participation and condemn bad faith critics. They're not bad faith critics. It's bad faith to say that a guy can stand up and declare he's a woman if his intentions are in good faith. But a guy who stands up and declares he's a woman and his intentions are not good, then he's not really a woman. I mean, I want you to think about the great thing about this is it's pushing the pretzel-like liberal logic into the spotlight. Because if just a regular old guy stands up and says, I'm a woman, then you're supposed to immediately bow down, treat him like a woman, call him her, whole 9 yards, and say he's beautiful. You have to say he's beautiful or else. He's a beautiful woman. And, you have to play into the delusion if the person, now, if you suspect the person's motivations in declaring themselves a woman are bad, well, that's a whole different thing. Then you're not bound to, you don't have to do the pronoun thing. What? But that's how liberal logic is working. If there were a similar situation where, because these guys are clearly doing it to make a point, but I can say that and still say it's within their rules of the WNBA, who refuse to define a woman. And by the way, the Indiana Fever coach has got to go. She's got to go. She did that speech the other day where she basically told everybody that she always backs her team up, even though she's like 2 days removed from not having backed her team up, and then told everybody to go to hell. And then she's like, and I'm with kindness. And that kindness got thrown at us a good bit yesterday by one of the trainers, and who I like a lot, but I'm leery of the word kindness because I see it wielded as a cudgel by a lot of people who are not themselves very kind. I just see that on a pretty consistent basis. But yeah, I saw that. And kindness, if you're not with us, you're against us, and to hell with you guys. And it's like, wait a minute. Isn't one of the basic tenets of kindness that even if someone is opposed to you, you still treat them with kindness? I mean, isn't that biblical? Like Jesus turned the other cheek? Modern left, man. Modern left, hostile aggressors against America, in my opinion. America's quickly has tried. So I was going to actually take John Fund, who I like a lot. I think John Fund's wrong. America's tried socialism before and quickly abandoned it. Maybe the hardcore elements of socialism in the teens. But let me tell you something. We have let it creep and creep and creep and creep. And there's zero doubt about that. Let's see. There's a little convenience store just right down the road from here on the corner of London and Stonewall. The closest school is Glen Academy, which is like 3 blocks from it. It's WNBA. It's not to be taken seriously. They don't know that, though. That's the problem. They were all told. It's kind of like there was a show years ago, and yes, I watched it, called WB Superstar USA. Have you ever seen this? It was on, there is no WB anymore. Now it's a CW, but it was called WB Superstar USA. And it was a show where, stop me if you've heard this premise before. It was a show where they let people come in and audition for a singing competition. And they had 3 judges, one of whom was a former pop star. It was Vitamin C, though, not Paula Abdul. And one guy was a music mogul and one guy was, a musician. And these people would come in, and the premise was these guys would lay it on thick for because you remember how American Idol used to show the really terrible auditions? And they at one point they had to stop doing that because it wasn't kind. There's kind again. It was cruel to the people to make fun of them. And it's like, if you're going in front of a camera for a national audience and you sound like that, you should, you should deal with the consequences that you get from that. But anyway, they would take the worst people and compliment them, build them up. This was kind of cruel, but I won't tell you it wasn't funny and that I didn't laugh. And they literally had like the American Idol style singing competition and eliminating people. And they literally went down to find the absolute worst singer, but they never told anybody they were finding them as the worst singer. So, but yeah, and that kind of the way the WNBA reminds me of that is that, they believe they're there to be taken seriously and nobody else believes that. So, but they believe it. They believe it, and that's what matters. This is an interesting article I'm not going to get to because it's starting to run out of time here, and I got a lot of different things I still want to get to today. But Mamdani solves the problem of too much liberty in New York City. The interesting thing is all of the nonsense that he's been doing. And I don't still get the sense that he's terribly unpopular in New York. It seems like he's still a candidate for easy reelection in New York, which should scare you. Genuinely should scare you. By the way, let's remind people, like and subscribe. We hit, I think yesterday afternoon I looked, we were at 1144 in subscribers. Again, I think when we started this venture, we were at like 8. So pretty amazing. Let me double check and see exactly where we are. Right now, we're at 1147. So like it, subscribe to it, spread the word, let people know we could use you. Take us in the car. You can take us on your phone. You can Bluetooth into the stereo. Everybody, you can get a YouTube app on your phone very easily. You can definitely get Facebook app on your phone. Probably already have it. And we're in those places. You get Twitch on your phone as well. And we're there as well. Savannah Steve here. Just got on your live stream. That new guy they've got on your old channel just wasn't the same. Are you going to work on getting back on the phones? Kind of miss the interaction. Yeah. Again, I'll go through kind of the history of this. I started this. I was going to, when the show ended, I was just going to do the internet. And I just said, to heck with the radio. I'll just go on the internet. And, I drew up sponsorship packages and all this other stuff and, didn't approach any clients to do it. No client has seen a sponsorship package that I drew up. And the reason they didn't was because I couldn't legally. But I was ready to go and I was going to do that. And then I got an offer from somebody. Well, a couple of things happened. One, an old mentor of mine and I were talking and he said, you're going to just ditch radio? No radio at all? I said, yeah. He said, long term, is that a good thing? I said, what do you mean? Well, I know the internet's a thing, but radio will always be there. And you have people in your audience who are older, who, may not take to the apps and all that other stuff. Said, okay, that's fair enough. And I got approached by somebody who operates radio stations and eventually came up with a deal that I really liked. And so, he and I are kind of working towards that. That having been said, folks tried to throw themselves into the mix this week. And look, I'm going to listen. I'm not going to say, unequivocally no, but I really like the idea of owning the show. I've always had ownership vibes of the show, if you know what I mean. I mean, it's always been my name out there, my voice out there, my words, my thoughts, my creativity. And so eventually, yeah. So the reality is if I were just going to stay on the internet by now, I would have phones. But because I do believe that radio is a path to longevity, although it will cost me in the short term financially, there will be phones, but I'm waiting until we're on the radio again, because the investment in doing phones for me just doesn't make sense for now. If it were going to just be me on the internet, the investment would make sense and it would have been done by now. But since I'm going to go on the radio, it doesn't make sense. Just waiting for the WNBA to have to announce as a starter team. Enos. Oh, stop it, Ennis. It's Ennis. It's not Enos. It's Ennis. Don't do that. That's gross. All right, let me. You just can't. Some of these guys in this audience, man, they're great, but then they're not. So by the way, there's a James O'Keefe story out there, and I don't know if you've seen this or not, but he went into Minneapolis on primary day. And, James O'Keefe, he was originally Project Veritas and they kind of booted him. So not a great human being, but he's done some good undercover work. And he literally went into Minnesota, into Minneapolis on primary day, disguised in a headgear and everything, like Muslim headgear, with women in burqas and guys in burqas disguised as women. According to Minnesota statutes, a registered voter can sign an affidavit affirming that they know another individual resides in the same precinct, allowing that person to register at the polls without presenting standard proof of residence. One registered voter can vouch for up to 8 people. So he did it. He went in there and basically said, yeah, I know these 8 people, and they signed them up to vote on voting day. That's a problem. That's a huge problem. And again, I would hope the people of Minnesota will be upset about that, because that's up to them to do something about that. But why is he not a great human being? Veritas was the bad guy in this situation. Have you read his texts? Have you read the text? He was doing more than just cultivating resources. I'll just say that. And it was pretty slimy. He was pretty slimy to some women that he had who were, passionate about the work, but he wasn't worried about the work. I'll just say that. Plenty of people I don't want to hear from. I'll take your time on the phones. It'll be a while on the phones. Either way. Yeah, I got you. But but it does appear to be really, really good work this time. And that's, again, a thing with him. Sometimes you go, okay, that's great. Sometimes you go, ooh, don't do that. But most of his investigative stuff has been dead on. This was interesting. The Michael Shermer show. Michael Shermer brings on a Dr. Warren Hern. And they're talking about this late term abortion thing. In Massachusetts, Governor Healy signed a bill. We were told all through the campaign, because Trump kept saying, Democrats want abortion up until the moment of birth. Democrats want abortion up until the moment of birth. And Democrats, we don't want it. We never, that's a lie. And the fact checkers went, yes, Trump's a liar. And then Maura Healey, Monday, signs a bill legalizing abortion up until the moment of birth. I want you to hear Dr. Warren Hern. This is a Michael Shermer show. And Shermer is asking him, because what we keep hearing is, oh, yeah, it's legal, but nobody ever does it. It's legal, but nobody ever actually gets a late-term abortion. Here's Dr. Hern.
Are people coming to you from other states now? You're in Colorado.
Yeah. I've had patients coming to me from all over the country since I opened my practice.
Oh.
And that's been especially true since I developed the techniques and instruments and procedures for doing the later abortions, which are much more difficult and take a lot more expertise and experience.
Do you ever get any women in their second half of the second trimester or in the third trimester that say they have no medical problems, they just don't want the baby, they change their mind? Would you do it?
Well, of course, if the woman doesn't want to be pregnant, there's no justification for forcing her to continue the pregnancy.
Okay. Has that happened?
That happens all the time. Of course. I mean, she has potentially fatal illness condition that can kill her.
No, I mean, if she has no medical problems.
The medical problem is that she's pregnant.
There you go.
Are people coming to you from other?
A potentially fatal medical problem. That potentially fatal medical problem is that she's pregnant. And this doctor, who runs an abortion clinic, private practice, by the way, Dr. Warren Hern, says he does late-term abortions all the time. They're not rare. They're not only in the interest of the life of the mother. Literally does them all the time when women say they just don't want to be pregnant anymore. And he's okay with it because they have a potentially fatal medical condition called being pregnant. I mean, that's just a problem. There's no other way to put it. Do I have one more that we want to get to? Oh, yeah. Now that's an interesting one, which is they're doing climate change again. You know, July was hot. It was in the paper of record the other day. July is the hottest month on record, and it's always the hottest month on record. And the CNN guys are just beside themselves because the CNN guys are sitting back going, why do people not care? 3% of voters believe that the top issue is climate change. And I'll tell you why, because doing something about climate change actually makes your life worse. I mean, I hate to say it, but all of the solutions to climate change seem to involve a transfer of wealth. They seem to involve more taxes. They seem to involve more regulations. They seem to involve less convenience in your life. And so, I mean, they're a giant negative for everybody. But the other part of this is, and I think people have to understand this, is there have been decade after decade after decade after decade after decade after decade of promises made of complete and total disaster if we didn't do all of these things. Like, you have to do all of the things that they've prescribed. And if you do not, then by golly, you know, the entire earth is going to be destroyed. And the problem is they've promised it and promised it and promised it. It hasn't happened. It's a huge problem. I mean, go right back to the population bomb. Go back to Paul Ehrlich, who said that, the population is going to grow when it, I think his thing was like 5-6 billion, something like that. We're over 8. And, the population bomb's premise was that when we got to 5 or 6 billion, the whole planet's just going to starve because we don't have enough food and water for everybody. And yet we're over 8 and we've got more food than we've ever had in the history of mankind. We literally have a planet full of people we have more people who are obese than starving in this planet for the first time in human history. So 54% of voters in the midterm say their top issue is the economy. 28% say immigration. Those are the top two. Climate change is 14 at 3%. The CNN guys are just like, what are we supposed to do? What can we do about these things? I don't understand. And, the reality is you've done it already. You've damaged your cause, period. All right. I've got a few other things to get into, but I really need to get going because I've got to be in place by 9:00 sharp. But you never know. I may pop on over the weekend. But we got a lot going on this weekend. I forgot about that. Yeah, we've got our normal Saturday is usually pretty packed. And now, again, we're going to kind of carve out some time for to be there for some friends. And then Sunday, we're doing G-Man's birthday, which is, again, going to be fun, but hectic, a lot to do. So I don't know if I'll pop on over the weekend. Probably not, but I hope you have a great weekend. Hope you have fun. I'll be keeping an eye on our 2 blobs, but right now we're actually looking really, really good. Let's see. Scooter McDuder says, where does climate change rank? 14th. And the concern of voters, like the top priority of voters is the 14th top priority. And that's it. All right. So I got to get out of here. Have a great weekend. Don't forget to like and subscribe, share, spread the good word. I will let you know if anything erupts over the weekend. I'll have the ability to just jump on live and go do it if I have to. So that having been said, I will see you guys Monday morning at least. Lord willing and the creek don't rise. Have fun. Till then. Happy birthday. His birthday, technically not till Tuesday, but to get the family together and do all that, we do it on a week. A weekend, so everybody can just kind of be part of it. And we'll probably do something else for him on Tuesday. Well, Tuesday's trivia. Well, he needs to go to trivia so we can sing to him. But we'll be doing his birthday on Sunday. So anyway, got to get out of here. You guys have fun. I will see you Monday.